Annual performance reviews. I'm sure there's a collective ugh when we hear that it is time to review our job performance. I remember that I expected I would get a perfect score on my review because, after all, I walk on water, right? No. And I always walked away as if I was in the principal's office at school and he or she had scolded me. My boss did not believe in giving glowing reviews and felt it didn't provide you with anything to strive for. What he didn't understand is that it was very demotivating to hear that your very best was never good enough. His review technique did not motivate me at all, and I dreaded annual performance reviews. So, this week, when I asked you for your tips on ensuring that they are a positive experience, you did not disappoint. I had lots of ideas and lots of choices to narrow it down to the top 10 list for annual performance reviews. Our first tip comes from Lynn DeLuca from Akron, Ohio. Like me, Lynn hates her annual reviews because she feels like it's a yearly checkup on how many times she screwed up. I can totally relate. My boss used to pull out his pad of paper where he had kept track of everything that had gone wrong and said, on August 2nd, you were 10 minutes late coming to work. Why? And on September 3rd, and so on. And so Lynn made a suggestion that I would have loved to have had and probably would have preferred. So instead of annual checkups, Lynn and her executive have monthly check-ins on their goals. That way, things that need to be addressed, both good and bad, are dealt with in a more timely manner, better feedback. There's also no blindsiding once a year. Ann Dulkey from Wausau, Wisconsin shares that she keeps a document in OneNote where she adds notes as she completes projects or accomplishes something significant. Doing this throughout the year ensures that Ann won't forget many of the things that she did all year long when it comes time to complete her self-appraisal. Kalinda Dubois from Ottawa, Ontario brings us our third tip for the week. Kalinda says that one of her worst performance appraisals helped her look at the needs improvement topic in a positive way. We should all have at least one item in the needs improvement category. It doesn't mean you're not good at the task. It means that perhaps you can excel in that area. So Kalinda's learned over the years to ask where she can improve. And if her immediate supervisor has not offered her any area of improvement, she asks them. So that's a great recommendation. As much as we're all perfect and walk on water, we are not. And we all have areas where we can improve. If you can't identify your own, be sure to ask for it. Christy Racho from New Hamburg, Ontario recommends that you have an honest conversation with yourself before you go into your annual performance review. How do you feel that you performed? Can you look back at the year and say it was a great year? Or can you look back and say that maybe you weren't fully engaged. Maybe you weren't giving it your all. Just because you're doing your job adequately does not mean that you're doing it to the best of your ability. You know inside how you really did. So take time to check in with yourself. And Nick Levesque from Ottawa, Ontario brings us our fifth tip. And Nick shares that she makes a point to highlight all of the professional development she has done over the year. It is important to say that we have worked at our craft to show them all of the time and the energy that we've invested into our career. Leslie Hartwell from Rapid City, South Dakota says that when she writes her evaluation, she includes high value items such as saving the company money, improving processes, and solving issues. Leslie encouraged us to write down more than we think is necessary because it will be easier for your executive to recall their part. Add the details and then add more. Number 7 comes from Muriel Vidlier from Geneva, Switzerland. Muriel tells us to be sure we explain in our annual performance reviews how we envision our role in the future and which training we may need to accomplish that. It's a good time to ask for any upcoming training you want or need, conferences, as well as memberships that you want the company to pay for. Kim Picard from Ottawa, Ontario recommended that we book double the time we think it should take when we book our time for annual performance reviews. My hairdresser does that when she does my hair. She books a double appointment. So book yourself a double appointment. Kim does that, and she explains that the meeting is not only about her annual performance review and expectations, but it's also a chance for her to speak to her supervisor about how they perform and what is expected from them. Communication and critique should always be a two-way street and should be welcomed by both parties. Nancy Knight from Glen Mountain, New York shares that if you are in the point of your career when you're looking at retirement or looking on going on a long maternity, or know that you'll be moving to another position with you in the organization, it is hard to write a performance review with goals. We should focus on tying our goals to training our replacement and developing a solid procedures manual so that someone can easily pick up where you left off. That shows the company or the department that you're not just planning on leaving, but you're planning to help them be successful. And number 10 comes from Gracie Guzman from Kansas City, Kansas. Gracie advises us that being prepared is a must, which all the other 9 tips are all about. She, like many others, keeps track of everything that she's done over the year on an Excel spreadsheet. She keeps track of all her training. She keeps track of all her projects, including who was involved, what it was, and what was required. Her tip is that telling us to promote ourselves with all of the accomplishments that we have done over the year. Expecting others to remember what you did is not reasonable. Only you can promote yourself and what you did over the years. So take the opportunity to promote yourself in your annual performance review. It is clear that all our advice this week is about taking responsibility to ensure that we are prepared, we are documented, and we are future focused. If we take the driver's seat in our annual performance reviews, we will be in control instead of feeling like we're in the principal's office when we're in school, and it will be a much better experience. Good luck.